Today we're talking about Magic the Gathering again, and the first expansion that I really went all in on, Theros. Theros was the 62nd Magic expansion and released September 27th, 2013. I was there when it released. Interestingly enough, that date also something we've talked about before, the Pokemon X and Y 3DS consoles that released at the same day, so maybe we played all night and then went and picked those up. I don't 100% remember, but I have pictures of us with our new consoles on that day, so I'm assuming we did both. But I do remember going to the midnight release and then going back to the card shop a few weeks later and buying booster boxes, which are a box of 36 packs, or at least they were back in the day. Things have changed now, but we would buy those. They came 6 to a case, and if you managed to request all 6 of them, you would get the cheapest possible price, which I think got them down to 100, 110. I don't remember. But I do remember us getting 3 other friends to all go in with us so that we could buy them. I think I got 2, and Bonnie got 1, and then we had 3 friends, and that makes 6. But yeah, I think I shelled out $200-something to buy booster packs. And then we continued buying, obviously, this box, packs, decks, other things. Bought a lot of Theros. That was the one I've said before we went the hardest on. I've now made it a little habit every week to sit down and spend some time sorting Magic the Gathering cards. I dug through and pulled out all of the Theros. That is everything that's here. I organized them first to last. I found everything there, and I put them into a binder, which we'll get to shortly. But that midnight release was the first time that I'd ever played Draft, which was really interesting. That was something there you would open a booster pack. You'd buy your way in. They'd give you a couple packs. You'd open the pack, take a card out, pass it to the person next to you. They would take a card, pass it along, continues all the way down, and you would build a deck out of whatever you had. These were what I liked playing the most. I felt like I had a chance there. Didn't win very often, certainly didn't win anything that night. I remember the person who won the first tournament. There were tournaments all throughout the night. We played until 8 a.m. I think they were getting ready to start another tournament at 8 a.m. and that's when we called it quits because we'd been playing Magic for 8 hours straight and stayed up all night. I was a much younger person then. Can't do that now. That was 10 years ago, almost to the day of recording this. I know this will come out later. Wow, 10 years. Other people did win, though. I think the grand prize, if I remember correctly, was a desk mat, a playing mat, that took up the entire desk. So it was like 8 feet by 4 feet or something like that. I just remember several people having to hold it up in order to take the photo with the winner at the end. But the binder, this is what we're doing moving forward. My entire last few weekends have been spent, not the entire weekend, but a majority of time have been spent sorting them first by the set that they came from, then sorting them by their numbering system to get everything in, and then bindering them. This is the first one that I've bindered all the way through because I knew that I would have the most. We do not have a full collection, unfortunately, even though we combined all the cards that we had, so at least 3 booster boxes, then many packs after that. Pretty much whenever we went into a store, we would specifically go almost every weekend, buy a fat pack, buy something. There's a lot of Theros that we bought. This is the one that we went the hardest on, and yet somehow we don't have a full collection. There are a few gaps, but it's not really many. We'll talk about which ones as we kind of look over. This was just a trip down memory lane. Opening all these packs, this was the one that I have the most experience by far. This became all we did for many weekends. And yeah, the weapons, legendary enchantment artifacts that were the weapons that went along with the different god theme that happened here. Oh man, that hooked me. Trying to pull those weapons really got it. The first one we're missing here, number 54, is Militus Charlatan. It's a rare creature, human wizard. I'm looking it up now. It doesn't seem to be super expensive, so I might just buy that one. Sealock monster, I remember that one. That was cool. Oh man. Yeah, Swan Song. God of the Sea. Thassa, yeah, and the Bounty. Really cool stuff here. I really like this set. I mean, this was really where I got back into it, like we've talked about. We're missing number 91. 91 was a mythic rare, Hythonia the Cruel. Oh, wow. Looks like some kind of horrible half serpent, half woman. Don't like that, but maybe we'll buy her so that we can complete the collection. Typically, I don't plan on leaving gaps in the binders for most sets. Theros was special. I knew we would come close to Theros, so when I started out and started sorting all of them, oh yeah, the whip, good stuff. think that means we do have that god in here somewhere, right? I've forgotten which number. Yep, there we go. God of the Dead. Erebos? Maybe Erebos. Not saying I know how to pronounce them, but found the whip too. That was cool. Move on to the red ones. You know, something I realized while I was going through. Oh, here we go. 21st to 22nd, September 2013. We went to the pre-release, which was that week, and then the following weekend we went back in order to get the booster packs and do the midnight release. We did do both. Like I said, we went hard on Theros. You know, it's really cool that I'm actually doing this series because it's got me looking at Magic the Gathering cards in different ways that I never did. 10 years ago, when I opened all these cards, I only just opened them, looked at them, thought they were cool, chased after the rare ones, played with them, so I looked at all their abilities, and that was it. Since then, and going back into it now, I'm watching videos and actually looking things up online about it. I found a really cool video that I'll put in the description talking about the frames and the artwork that they did for it. This was really cool, not just this specifically, it's about the entire history of Magic over a period of like 20 years, but I really like the frames on this one. It's a lot, you know, so you got some sparkles in there and things. Then you've got the different artwork here for the kind of textured background. This was neat, and I never even considered it after all the years of collecting cards until last month when I watched a video about it. Spark Jolt. I liked playing with red. Red was pretty cool. I don't actually remember playing with Stormbreath Dragon, but I think I've talked about here I didn't really win a lot of games. I wasn't particularly good at playing the game of Magic. I was real good at opening the packs and you know, looking at the cards, which is a very learned skill. Except for the fact that I can barely pronounce anything and I remember almost none of the cards, but it's pretty cool to go through. I do remember playing, typically I would pull a card, like a rare one, like, for example, Nylea, God of the Hunt, and then her bow, which was on the previous page. I would have got that and immediately made a deck around it, just to try to get that one out. That doesn't necessarily mean it was a good one, although I do remember Mistcutter Hydra. Man, I made some cool green decks. I think green was one of my favorite colors to play with. Mistcutter Hydra can't be countered. Haste, protection from blue, enters the battlefield with X +1/+1 counters on it. So I played a mana ramp deck, which is, I believe, what they called it. I made one with the Hydra, and so it was all about getting as much land, as much mana as you could out as quickly as possible, and then you pull out something like that, and it's just huge. And I had several decks like that just really was green, meant to go up as high as it could. Apparently there was another one, I guess from an event. I don't know that much about it, except for what I Googled, and I went, oh, hey, there are different versions, and yes. Karametra's Acolyte? I don't know how you pronounce it, but there was a different version, and it's still numbered 160 out of 249, but it has an asterisk, and that was kind of cool to see that I got something more than just one that was exclusive. Let's see, we're missing number 196 here. 196 was Madomai the Ageless. It's a Sphinx. It's got like purple around the wings. I highly recommend looking some of these cards up if you're interested in what I am missing. I do plan on hopefully completing the collection and purchasing these ones individually. I had in my notes I was missing 198, and I am, but apparently I forgot that I was missing 198 and I filled in that spot. So I'll have to rearrange the binder. That is the downside to putting things in binders, but they're kind of going to be one and done. I don't expect to be collecting a lot of these old cards anymore. I will be collecting some newer ones, but either way, I am missing 198. There should be a gap here for Polis Crusher, which looks like a gigantic Cyclops and a huge foot. I'm really not too sad about missing that one, but for the collection, I will need to get it. I also missed another one, apparently. I really didn't pay too much attention. I marked which ones I was missing, then I forgot when it came time to actually put them in the binder. There should be another gap here for number 209, which is a mythic rare Xenagos the Reveler, maybe? Kind of looks like a man, but with horns. He's a planeswalker. I'm missing one of the planeswalkers. That one will probably be more expensive for me to find. But then we are missing a temple. Temple of Mystery. I have some of the other temples. Temple of Silence. Temple of Triumph. Shrine to Nyx. I remember that one. Yeah. We're missing that one. That's the final one that we're missing of the regular cards. Then I've got all the land cards here. I put those in, of course. I don't remember where this came from, the warrior. This must have come from one of the events that we went to because it's not actually listed anywhere. It was an exclusive that I looked up. And then I am unfortunately missing some of the tokens, which I do not understand how, because you get a token in every pack, or you know, a marketing card. You get something like that. Somehow I wound up missing 3 tokens. I get one of them. One of them was specifically for that first planeswalker that we saw, Elspeth. I looked that one up. I looked up the tokens I was missing because I couldn't believe that of anything I'd be missing. Mythic rares, yes, that makes sense why I'd be missing some of the mythic rares. But a token? Yeah, I talked about the weapons. The hammer was the closest we ever got. The hammer and the bow were really cool. I also like whips. I mean, look, I like Indiana Jones. I know how to use a whip. I've cracked a whip many a time. I own a few. But the hammer was probably the second coolest that I really liked. I'm all about swords. You give me a big 2-handed sword in any kind of video game or anything, that's what I play games for, is to see somebody wielding a sword that you'd be like, that weighs over 100 pounds. There's no way they can swing it like that. And I go, yeah, isn't this game cool? But a hammer's a close second. But there we have it. Of all the Magic cards that I have, if I can remember the most about one set, it is Theros. It was just the one that we went the hardest on. I've said it several times now. The one that I remember the most opening the packs, it's probably not just probably, now that I've sorted them all into their individual series, it is the one that we have the most of. Without a doubt, I've got the most cards. Everything else fits into other type of deck boxes or the bigger fat pack boxes. Nothing requires the like collector box that we have here. This one by far we have the most of, and it'll probably remain that way because I don't plan on going that hard again into Magic the Gathering, although tune in next time because I do have some new packs to open. Just look at the artwork on this. The Night Howler. Oh, man. Now I'm just looking through these cards. It's just really cool to see all of them again. I really enjoyed opening this up and going through the entire thing here. It was a fun time. Theros means the most to me. I'm kind of glad we started with this one. It definitely was the one that I knew we had the most of for cards, and it was a really good time. I really enjoy this time period in my life. I can't believe it's been 10 years. I really didn't expect it to be right around then that I'm recording this, 10 years from when we got all of these. It's a good time. I'm really happy I have them. I'm really happy they're in a binder now so that I can pull them out and look at them whenever I need to. It's a lot easier than trying to dig through boxes to find particular cards that I want to look at. It was such a good time that I can't talk higher about my experiences collecting these cards and really what got me back into Magic the Gathering. And I'm happy for this new chapter that I'm doing with the collecting, the organizing. I still get the thrill of opening the packs. It's a good time. Theros. What else can I say about it? It's kind of obvious, but Magic the Gathering and Theros specifically was something that I like.